And we're back. Random beam ping has concluded, and we're back exploring these faction mechanics. Okay, so Empire. They have a specific territory capture mechanic. I'm guessing the other ones will have as well. Let's just have a look. Dwarves can only capture belonging to greenskin and dwarves. Okay, so they can capture each other. These two, dwarves and greenskins, really are meant to fight one another. Vamps can only capture territory belonging to other vampire clans or human. Okay, so these guys, so Empire and Vampire fight each other and other people, right? Chaos Warriors, Horde. Okay, I guess this is very much like the Attila Hordes where they don't have any actual settlements. So the way that'll probably be implemented is that the faction has no settlements. Infrastructure and military improvements are linked to each individual Chaos Horde. Right, so basically your army is your city, very much like Attila, I guess, where you buy improvements for your army to make it fight better, and it gives you income, TLDR. So okay, so humans will only fight vampires and other counts. We actually have to decide which of these factions we're going to play, by the way. What's this shit in the middle? Monster, whatever. What's this? How do you even pronounce that? Luminarch of Heiss. Heish. That'll do. Demigriffin Knights. Tanks, yes, we have tanks. Woo. Dwarves have tanks. Dwarves. Iron Drakes. Flamethrower Infantry. Slayers. Axe Infantry. Can I mouse over this tooltip? I can mouse over this tooltip. Amazing. That's what a flying machine does. Amazing. Friends, look at this. This is an amazing way to do tooltips. You have a mouse over within a mouse over. Let's not get stuck on that. Let's look at what... No, in fact, no. Let's not even look at dwarves. What we know is dwarves fight greenskins. Okay. Empire fight vampire. Okay. Chaos are going to be somewhere else. Doesn't matter. Let's worry about chaos later. Now, back to Empire. Can only capture, yeah, okay, specific officers. Offices. Lords may be assigned into offices. I guess lords are your generals. Maybe. Probably. Granting them unique titles and bonuses. Did the other games do this at all? You had progression system, but you couldn't grant them. I can't remember that far back. But okay, so you can grant a lord an office to give them more benefits. Fine, that makes sense. Technologies. Branches are linked to various buildings. Well, that's fucking generic as all hell. This is very generic. We'll see what this actually means when we get down and dirty with the game. Because this doesn't tell me anything. Technologies. Branches are linked to various buildings. Okay. As a first-time player, this means nothing to me. This might as well be Spanish or Italian or Chinese. Doesn't matter. Right. So those are my faction mechanics. Technologies, offices, and the territory shenanigan. Bloody blah. Oh, here we go. Playstyle. Plentiful confederation options allowing for other Empire factions to be merged with the Emperors via diplomacy. So I guess you'll be fighting humans a lot as well. And you'll try to consolidate your empire into one force. Probably very much like you did in... What game was that? In the first Total War Rome, where there's three factions to Rome. But not quite, but I guess something like that. We'll see. Next bullet point: balanced unit roster with a wide range of options. Okay. Fractured Empire, whereby the provinces. Fractured Empire, whereby the provinces of the Empire are ruled by elector counts, over whom the Empire has tenuous control at best. So that, to me, that third bullet point, sounds like you have vassal states. Vassal states have never had a very interesting implementation in the Total War games. Very, very limited use cases where you can actually use them effectively. Generally speaking, you were always best to wipe them off the map and just take their territory and continue. Numerous enemies. Whoop-de-doo! We're going to be overrun by wild greenskins and vampire counts, and then of course run over by fucking Chaos Warriors. That'll be amazing. Fine, so mechanics, playstyle. This is sort of playstyle, sort of useful, not really. doesn't really help a first-time player. I guess it may be. I don't know, it's hard to say. Oh, it's a fucking magic chariot. What does this magic chariot do? These special chariots support surrounding units with auras or strike with powerful magical attacks. Right, okay, so I guess we need to stop there for a second. So I fully expect this game to be very, very playstyle in terms of how you actually play the game, to be very, very heavily based on units and special abilities, far less than the classic Total War style of doing combat, where its position and opportunity determine the victor, where two units intersect and then you have to flank, outflank, rear flank another unit to do maximum impact damage. So I fully expect this game to be all about managing your different special unit abilities. I don't know what else they're going to do, maybe your general abilities, whatever that means. And then less so than in other Total War games about flanking and position and hill advantage, height advantage, unit composition. Well, actually no, unit composition is probably going to be another big one. But much less of the traditional what I would call the traditional Total War playstyle, more of the modern Web 2.0 RTS playstyle of click some buttons, press some abilities, and Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. Okay. Now, let's go back to these Empire top units. The tank. What is this? No, let's look at the tank. Tank is more cool. So, a good way to do tooltips. Mouse over for tooltip, and then mouse over within the tooltip. This is fucking cool. This is a cool way to do tooltips. Really cool way. Oh, there's even a... Oh, it's a button! This is fucking amazing. Look at this. This is how you design GUI. This has a lot of detail. It is elegant and, well, I think it's very slick. War machine. Can I mouse over the button? No, it's sitting. A steam-powered full metal war machine, boasting a cannon and an enormous short-range turret. So okay, so it has two guns. Has two guns. I guess a wee gun and a long-range gun. Fine. Armored. Armored units can block enemy damage from any source apart from armor-piercing damage. Oh, that's fucking interesting. Okay. So we will, well, if I understand correctly, this steam tank will not take damage from units that are not classified, or attacks that are not classified as armor piercing, which means we can park this thing over the face of greenskins and have a fun day. Next. Armor piercing. Oh, we are an armor piercing unit, so we can damage other armored units. The damage of armor piercing weapons mostly ignores armors of the targets, making them ideal choice for against heavily armored enemies. They are often heavier and attack at a much slower rate though, making them less effective at poorly armored targets. Okay, so I guess, in fact no, I don't guess, I know. The way they would balance this in terms of DPS output is that armored units only kill armor piercing units kill other armored units, but if they were to fight, for instance, unarmored units, that would be much less effective. So the optimal way to fight armor piercing units would be to swarm them with basically junk troops. Next. Cause terror. This unit causes terror, making it a melee target for routing. What the fuck, my English? This unit can cause terror, making its melee target route for a short time. There we go. Objective successful. Units that cause terror are immune to terror and fear themselves. Okay, so we can't break. Nice. Unbreakable. Well, okay, what do you fucking do? So this... Units that cause terror are immune to terror and fear themselves. Okay. This... And then we have unbreakable. This unit does not suffer from any form of leadership loss and will never rout. Okay, I guess so the cause terror... The secondary benefit of cause terror doesn't really overlap with this benefit of unbreakable. Fine. What is this? Oh, let's go here. From great. Oh, okay. Yeah. Fluff text. From great range, a steam tank launches powerful shots of armor-piercing cannon to the face. Fire with fire. Hope you to burn. With tremendous stopping power. Amazing. We're gonna shoot some people. Unit size of unit size of 1. So, now that we've gone over that, there's some other stats here that are quite interesting. And because this is a super nerdy channel, where we really like stats and we really like to know what the hell they do, we're going to mouse over all of these stats. So, if that's not for you, you might want to skip ahead and find a place where I'm done talking about this nonsense and get to the actual gameplay. Otherwise, stay tuned. Now, hit points. Okay, amazing. We have a hit point pool. This is obviously lost when you take damage, whatever. Armor. How much resistant a unit is to missile fire and melee attacks. Okay, so this blocks 160. Okay, so, right. So this blocks damage. Leadership. A unit's leadership is slightly... Okay, this is a leadership pool, fine. In the other Total War games, you would lose an amount of leadership based on the state of your unit. So if you were flanked and you had 100 points of leadership, you would lose them at, I don't know, like 5 units, 5 points of leadership every, whatever, second of the game. And when you get down to a certain level, your unit turns around and runs away. I'm expecting these mechanics to be no different. Speed. How fast the unit moves. 57 units per second. Amazing. This means nothing to a new player, however, this means more to an experienced player because this 57 is more relative to other units where it's important. So I guess... Yeah, let's look at cavalry here real quick. Yeah, cavalry. Speed, 80, right? So this thing moves at 57, the tank moves at 57, the cavalry moves at 80. Whatever that percentage difference is, that's how much faster the cavalry are. What the fuck is a Luminarch Magical Chariot? This thing moves even slower than the tank. Fine, this is a AoE buff unit probably. Anyway, back to the tank. Leadership speed. My tank has a melee attack. A 35. This determines the chance of a successful melee hit. Right, okay, before we go any forward, so in the previous games, specifically Tilla, what they did was there is a two-stage system, very much actually like Warhammer, where the unit first has to roll a hit between a contest of attack and defense, and then roll damage between a contest of attack damage and armor. So I'm expecting it to work the same way here. Where's my weapons? Yeah, this is the attack damage, but let's go back to melee. So my melee stat, an attacking unit's melee, this determines the chance to hit on a successful hit on an enemy, okay. Defense, this determines the chance of a unit being hit while in melee, okay. This only works in melee provided, yeah, okay, amazing. So, melee attack will contest against melee defense, then there will be a dice roll or some sort of roll where we will determine if the attacker hit the defender. If that happened, this will probably happen, we will then apply weapon strength. Weapon strength is actually wound strength with Warhammer. Wounds, how many wounds an attack does? Weapon strength, this is not quite a Warhammer term. Anyway, the damage caused by a unit's weapon split between base and armor piercing. Armor piercing damage is always applied. Base damage, right, that's the mechanic. There you go, friends. So, armor, this thing here, will always block, or will block, an amount of weapon damage. So, if this tank hit its own mirror image in melee combat and managed to land a hit, we would have done 19 points of damage to its health pool and ignored 50 points of damage because we have 160 points of armor. We would have a remaining 110 armor after we'd done the weapon hit. Charge bonus, what does this shit do? Oh, okay, charge bonus, the way it worked in other games was that you would apply it to a unit that was charging to its attack and weapon strength. Increases a unit's melee attack and damage while charging. There you go. So, the way I expect this to work, the way it worked in other games, is that you take this 80, you add it to this 35, and that's your weapon strength while you're in charging. And in charging basically means when the unit has made contact with another unit in melee combat, and they're fighting for a couple of seconds thereafter, right? And then they lose the charging buff, essentially, and they go back to the normal values. So then this tank would be 35, 210, 235, 115. 115? Yeah, 115, motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. So we're at 115, then we'd add this 80 to this. Now the interesting thing here is that, is this 80, how is this 80 added to my weapon strength? This increases a unit's melee attack and damage when charging. Now, does that mean it increases weapon damage by 80 and armor piercing damage by 80, or only weapon damage by 80? Let's read this again. And damage. I would guess, to be on the safe side, that it only increases weapon damage. instead of armor piercing damage, because I think if it increased armor piercing damage, then charging with cavalry units or very, very fast moving objects might be a little bit too powerful. Charge bonus, we just spoke about charge bonus. Ammunition. In the Empire Total War game and Napoleon Total War games, units had rifles and they shot people, and you know what, the Empire here will also have rifles and they will shoot people with cannons and tanks, so this serves the same sort of effect. We will shoot people with very, very heavy moving objects. Sorry, that's wrong. We will shoot people with small, very fast moving objects from rifles and with bigger objects from cannons. And obviously throw fireballs and space comets like this guy is doing in the video. Fucking magic spells. Ammunition, right. Range, right. A long range enables you to hit enemies at a distance, but weapons are still more accurate at short. Okay, so they don't display an accuracy here. Missile damage, get that. They don't display an accuracy of attack here, but I guess it's like cannons where the further you shoot away, the less accurate you are. And if they'd implement this mechanic as they had in the Empire Total War and Napoleon, where you can score a very good shot with a cannon at range, but it's less likely. And this will probably be the very, very similar. Let's have a look at missile damage. The damage caused by a missile attack split between base and armor. Okay, so the same mechanic. Armor piercing, but armor piercing damage is always applied. Oh, hell, there we go. Reload time is 9.9 seconds. This is the interesting bit. Reload time is 9.9 seconds. Damage values shown is damage over 10 seconds. Okay, so they take that divided by that. Fine. So the gun damage value shown is damage over 10 seconds. Reload time is 10 seconds. Right, so what this actually means is that it'll shoot one bullet every 9.9 seconds, doing 100 missile damage. I assume this is from the main gun, if this thing actually has two guns. It'll shoot one bullet every 10 seconds, doing 100 missile damage and 300 armor piercing damage. And the reason they write this reload time is 9.9 damage is over 10 seconds is because for bowmen they probably shoot at a much higher rate, or riflemen they probably shoot at a much higher rate. Amazing. Well, that makes sense. I hope you guys are keeping up, because, well, I think this is pretty interesting. It's interesting as they do here. There's a contest of melee attack and defense. Then weapon strength is contested against armor, and then the result of that is applied to hit points. And then based on how well or how badly a unit is doing, it affects its leadership, right? That's pretty much the standard Total War mechanic system, right? There's nothing to write home about. We all know how this shit works. Check these out. This unit causes fear. This unit causes terror. This unit is a break, right? These pips, I assume, are inherited because of these traits. These traits in a normal in-game HUD, in-game battle game HUD GUI would not be displayed, and instead you would see these pips. Amazing. So, that's a lot of talking. I need to go grab a drink, get some water. Be right back, friends.